Welcome to Papa Paints. I'm Papa. My real name is Larry, by the way. And I wanted to show you today how I use Procreate on my iPad. And specifically, I'm going to show you how I painted this landscape using the dry brush and a little bit of the turpentine brush. And it didn't take very long, really, but I did it. If you can look at it closely, you'll see it's kind of like a painterly approach with the brush strokes, and it's a wonderful medium using digital art, whether it's Procreate or Photoshop or any of the others. There are so many good ones. This is not AI. This is hand-drawn with a stylus. There's the stylus. The stylus acts as a brush or a pencil. And if you're not familiar with doing art this way, then maybe it'll be interesting to you. If you've always wanted to do this, this is perhaps a great way to enter into it. I try to show you in such a way to keep it simple and doable for even the beginner. You will see that my approach is usually very impressionistic. For those of you who've watched me for a long time, thank you for watching this. I don't know how interested you might be, because usually we do watercolor or gouache on paper, or maybe acrylic on canvas, and once in a great while oil on canvas or on a board. But today we're going to do digital art. Digital art serves some really important purposes, especially if you're doing it to illustrate a book or as a commercial project. Maybe you've been hired by a newspaper to do an editorial illustration. Eventually the art, even if it's on paper, eventually it's going to be photographed. That photograph will be digital, and that digital photograph will then end up in the print that you want it for, that it is wanted for. So yeah, just keep in mind that it won't look exactly the way it would look on watercolor, but you can manipulate it, and you know what, the opportunities are there, the variations are endless. And let me show you how I did this one right now. Good morning. Okay, so normally if you have watched this channel for a while, you have seen me doing watercolor or gouache. Once in a while I'll do acrylic, and I did oil recently with a portrait. But today I'm going to use digital, and the platform I'm using is called Procreate. It's an app, and it's very affordable. I don't remember how much it cost now, but it was like $10 when I got it, and that's unbelievable. And it's just a beautiful, 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 great program to use for illustrating children's books, for just creating artwork. Of course, all of the artwork is going to be digital, so that means that you won't have a tangible physical painting that you can hold. In addition to the digital art, let me show you one piece of digital art that I did. This is for a client, because I do work for publishers sometimes, not often, maybe once or twice a year I get an assignment, and they just wanted something simple, a portrait of a woman, and so I sent them a few of them. This is one of them. That's digital, created on this program. And they wanted a painterly look, by the way, which is why it's got that painterly look, which is why today I'm going to show you how to do that. But I want to show you something else before we go anywhere else. So I do a lot of these watercolor or gouache paintings. So there is the gouache painting. Here's the actual gouache painting. Okay, that's the actual one painted with gouache on paper in my journal. And then I took a photo of it with my camera on my phone, believe it or not, and I put it onto the digital format. The reason I did that is so that I could convert it from 72 dots per inch to 300 dots per inch. And that's just a little extra information for those of you who want to sell your art and prints of your art. Make sure you format them so that the DPI is at least 300, so that the printing companies can get a nice picture for you, a nice print for you. Okay, here's my gallery. It's loaded with all kinds of pictures of things I've done in the past, both commercially and just personally. But today, let me waste your time no more. I'm not wasting your time, I hope. So now I'm going to pick a new canvas. I'm going to pick 27 by 21. I like that size because it's large enough that if somebody wants to print it at 27 by 21, it will it'll show up really good. But the actual screen here is 10 inches. Can you see that? I got a ruler here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 10 inches. The actual canvas on the screen by 7 1/4. And of course, if you have an iPad that's smaller or a tablet that's larger, it'll be larger or smaller. But the actual canvas, there it is right there. It's 27 by 21. Okay, just so you know. All right, now let's get started. I want to do a painterly landscape using Procreate. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the layers, and I'm going to change the background color to an orange tone. I just like that. Like, there you go, like almost like a brown orange. I kind of like that as a way to start, just so that I have a starting point. With the 27 by 21 at 300 DPI, let me show you something. If I go to the canvas information and I look at the dimensions, you will see it's 300 DPI, 27 inches by 21 inches, 8100 pixels by 6300 pixels, and you go to layers, and you will see that the maximum number of layers I can have is 6. Some people like to use way more than 6. I actually don't need more than 6, but if you've never done things with layers, digital art with layers very, very handy, but the work I do, it's not that important. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the brush, and you have all kinds of brushes to pick from. Sketching, which is mostly like pencil or pastel, inking, which you can probably guess is a studio pen, a marker, etc., and artistic, which is these rough brushes, which kind of give you a different artsy kind of a look. I go almost always to the painting brush and almost always to the dry brush. Now you can also go to, there's an airbrush. A lot of people like using airbrush. I use airbrush very rarely, but I do use it. But let's go back to the main one I'm going to use. I'm going to use the dry brush. I also will use the turpentine brush here. Turpentine is sort of like the oil brush, but the turpentine brush goes on a lot smoother, and you're going to see as we do this painting. So let's start with the dry brush, and we are going to do a landscape. Are you ready for this? All right. So here's our color wheel. I prefer the, I think that's called the standard setting, as opposed to the disc setting. Some people like it like this. Oh, okay, this is called the circle, or the disc, and it's the color wheel, basically. You know, you can pick your colors that way. I prefer to go to the, what they call the classic one. So here's all the different shades of brown, of orange, and of course you can change it to the greens and the blues and the purples, the violets, the reds, the yellows. There we go. So what we want here, what we want to start with is a green, and we're going to do a desaturated green. So you go to the left over here and make it kind of dark, and let's just do this. So now we're going to take the dry brush, and over here we're going to change the size of it to be about, I don't know if you can see that getting bigger and smaller, but you can see it getting bigger and smaller. So I'll have about that size, and I'll keep the opacity 100%. Okay, So now let's just do this. And here's the reference photo right there. Okay, so I'm looking at that on my screen on my computer. I don't want to keep it here on this video because otherwise it'll well, you could put it here. Actually, you could put it on here, like half of the picture, but then this becomes this size and your reference photo becomes that size, and I like it to be the full screen. Okay, so here we go. All right, I've talked for 7 minutes. Let's see how long it takes to do this. I love the fact that you can do this quickly. So what I like to do is push down and scrub on the surface. I'm just going to add some of this unsaturated green just all over the place. Just kind of mix it up over here. Add some. Go back to. I go back to the color a lot. My iPad is a little bit bogged down with stuff I've done in the past, so it might glitch out on me a little bit, but that's okay. We'll worry about that when it happens. So just to sketch in, to scrub in rather, some of these areas, and you can see it looks very painterly. Looks like I'm taking a real dry brush and I'm putting down here, so that you can create a little bit of a trail here for this hiker. I'll put a hiker in here. Here we go. Let's get some different tone of green here. It's a little bit too green. Let's get desaturated. Desaturated and darker. There we go. So, and the stylus is a rechargeable stylus. It sits on the top over here, right here. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. There it is right there. And that is a magnet, and that charges it, keeps it charged. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's about. All right, just keep scrubbing it in here. Let that orange back painting, or that orange bottom layer, let that show through. See, if it was a real painting, I would use an underpainting for this. Okay, let's get some light, slightly darker. Just kind of do this. There we go. And if you push lightly, you can kind of get different effects from it. And you can see all I'm doing is scribbling. I'm really, literally scribbling. And the birds are out there. All right, now I'm going to, what I want to do now is I want to take a light brown, kind of make this trail here, kind of give myself a little bit of an idea of what I want here for this trail. There we go. Just a little hint of a trail. And we'll get some of that green again. We get some of that yellow green, I think. Slightly yellow. It's a little bit too saturated. Get it unsaturated. Get a little bit more yellow in there. So it's the same exact technique as far as colors as you would use with traditional paint. Yep, same thing. The only difference is it's much quicker. I mean, it takes no time at all to mix the color with the digital. All right, here we go. Let's get some of that orange dark again. Get a little bit of shadow on here. Just kind of give ourselves a hint of what's happening here. All right, let's go back to the green. Let's make it really light and unsaturated. This is going to be that light coming in from the sun. Going to make this all makes sense in just a little while. Let's get that even brighter. There we go. So you can see it's starting to come together. Let's get some more of that yellow green here. Okay. A couple of areas here and here. Up here. Alright, we're making progress here. Let's get some of that desaturated green over here. Make it kind of hazy back there. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to take a layer, another layer, and I'm going to put it on top of this one. Make that brush a little smaller there. And you can almost see the composition coming together already. So I didn't put the other layer on here yet. Give me a second, I'm just trying to fill in some of these areas here. There we go. Alright, let's go to another layer. And on the second layer, we're going to basically be doing the same thing, but I wanted to create another layer just to have some options, so I can take it away if I don't like it. Okay. Keep working it in there. Okay, well, thank you for watching. If you are not familiar with this channel, my name is Papa. My real name is Larry, but I call the channel Papa Paints because I am a grandpa, and my grandson calls me Papa, and I love being called Papa. So, of course, it's just a beautiful thing for me. Today's Valentine's Day, by the way. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, if you don't mind me not talking about the painting the whole entire way, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to type it in the comments. I will try to get to them all. I usually do, but not always. All right, now I want to put a little bit desaturated here, just to kind of give a place where I can put darker trees over it, because we haven't even done the trees yet, but we will. So this particular iPad is kind of loaded, has a lot of, I need to free up some memory, and so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, especially when I'm working fast, I don't know why I'm working fast. I guess I'm trying to spare you the lengthy wait. It takes me a little while to do any painting, whether it's digital or traditional. And by the way, if you wanted to sample the colors from the actual reference photo, you can do that too. You can put the reference photo on there as I showed you, and you can you can sample it straight from the photograph. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. Give me a second here. I'll just do some of this. So what I'm trying to do here is put some shadows across the roadway like it shows in the reference photo. And again, I'm not trying to duplicate the reference photo. I'm using it as a reference. I like the way it looks when it's kind of artsy or painterly, as they say. Put some more light here. So let me show you what I mean by the reference photo, grabbing the colors from it. So let me add a reference photo here. Reference photo. So that's the reference photo box. Let me import an image. Okay, so let's say I wanted to import, let's find a photo in here. Most of these are my artwork. Okay, let's say I wanted to import this one. Okay, so let's say that was my reference photo. Whoops, give it a second and it'll catch up with itself. Come on. It's taking its time. There we go. So let's say that was the reference photo. Okay, so then you take your artwork and you have to bring it down to a smaller size. And then what you would do, just let me open up another layer just for the fun of this. All right, let me turn off everything. Whoops. Well, let's just keep the background that close so I don't mess my painting up. But let's say you wanted that green right there. Just hold your finger on it, and then you'll have that color. If you hold your finger over here, you'll have that color. If you hold your finger over here, you'll have that color. Is that green? There's another green. Okay, I think there's another way to do that also. I'm not sure how that one works. Okay, I guess if you touch it, yeah, I guess that's how it works. So if you touch it over here, see, I never used this technique. This one. I don't know. But the way I like to do is I just hold my finger there, and then you get the color onto the digital brush, onto the stylus. And that's how you can grab the colors off of the reference photo. So if you didn't want to do it the way I'm doing it. All right, let me get rid of that layer. Delete that and turn this off. There we go. Get rid of that. Come on, go away. And then put our artwork back on there. And let's continue with what we were doing. All right. I kind of like the way it looks now, so I'm going to take these two layers that I've done, and I'm going to merge the two together. So now it's just one layer. Now I'm going to put another layer on top of it. Okay? And we'll just continue with the painting. So I like this green here. I want to keep it a little bit lighter over here. A little bit brighter. Yeah, that looks good. This bright coming in. I'll keep working on that. Okay. All right, let's get back to the greens. Some more darker greens, but not so dark. Desaturate, desaturate. To me, that looks good. There we go. Already getting a lot of desaturated colors here. Now a little bit darker over here. Get some light yellow, green here. Okay, now we're sort of coming into some of the beginning details here. The dry brush, just like in traditional paint, if you're using a dry brush, the bristles on the brush create this really cool look that you can use for grass or for weeds or for anything like that. And just see how it just leaves little wisps, almost like the grass is growing. And I'm going to put that in there and use it. Yep. Okay, now let's get a little bit brighter than that. A little bit more yellow. Let's get some highlights here. And again, we want this to have that painterly look, so it looks like an actual painting. And when you print these, you can go to Walgreens or your favorite print shop, and they will look wonderful. I've done it myself. Robin has taken some paintings and taken them to Walgreens, for example. All right, so I talked for 7 minutes and now it's 24. Let's see. So that's 16 minutes. I'm bad at this, but anyway, yeah, it's much quicker than if it was traditional paint. All right, let's get a little bit of green mixed in there, tiny bit greener. These bright green leaves that are popping through here. Alright. Again, I'm not painting the leaves, I'm painting an impressionistic view of the leaves. Okay, an impressionistic interpretation of the leaves. How about that? Yeah, looks nice, huh? Alright, now, kind of like that. Kind of looks nice. Alright, now you can see the landscape, right? You can see everything. So let's get another layer now, put it on top of that one. Remember, I only have 6 layers. And I'm going to use this dark green here. And I'm going to put a tree right here, right to the top of the page. And another one over here. Take a little skinnier, make the brush a little bit smaller, make a skinny one here. I'll do some more over here. These ones don't have to be so obvious. They can be just a little wisp of one, a branch coming off of one, branch coming off of another one. I'm taking liberties here. A lot of this is not the way it looks in the reference photo. But there's some trees right there. And let's get a tree over here. Going right over that sun. Let's get some branches. Yeah, I tried doing digital demonstrations on this channel in the beginning when I first started the channel, and I got some pushback from people who said, I don't want digital. They were confusing it with AI. It's not AI, as you can tell. There's no artificial intelligence. but there is an artificial brush and there is an artificial canvas, and it does have to be printed and it is digital. But guess what? When you're earning a living making art, and you have a publisher who says, I need this revised, I need you to change this, I need to change that. Well, guess what? It's so handy. And you know what's going to happen if you do a traditional painting using gouache or watercolor or acrylic. If you do a traditional painting, eventually, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be photographed. And guess what the photograph is? It's a digital photograph. So the JPEG or the PNG or the TIFF or whatever file they decide to use, which doesn't really matter to you as the artist, but whatever they decide to use is still going to be a photograph, no matter what format it is. So you're going to save yourself some trouble. You're going to save yourself some time if you do it digitally. And I'm talking about now if you're doing this for a job. If you're painting pictures for friends or for your house, yeah, you want a real picture, a real painting. Yeah, don't let one substitute the other. By the way, this is a great way to kind of teach yourself a little bit about composition, because you can have so much fun and just making stuff up as you go along. All right, so now we have our trees and our landscape pretty much. Let me see if I can brighten up the let me show you something. See that? That's that layer all by itself. That's important to know. And here's the other two layers without the trees, and here's with the trees. So now if I put a layer underneath that one, let's move it down below that one. Now I can paint beneath those trees. Let me show you. So I'm going to use this light. I'm going to have a bright light right here where the sun's coming through. And look at that. It does not paint over the trees. It paints under the trees. Isn't that awesome? And then you can do these little lights, these little beams of light coming in. Because we want these beams of light hitting our hiker when we get to him. We'll get to the hiker in a moment. Just get some of that light down here. So it's on top of the paint below it, but it's below the trees. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get some of that light green, the yellow green, and just enhance it a little bit more. And some of these you might want to put it in front of the trees. Let's get a little bit darker here, almost like a blue-green here. Put some cooler colors in here. There we go. Just to kind of balance it. Oops, see it crashed? Now I gotta open it up again. It crashed because my iPad is full. Come on. Alright, let's see. Where were we? Yeah, it doesn't like to be worked so hard. And I am working a little bit faster than normal. Whoops, it didn't come back. There it is. There it is. All back. I don't think it took that layer. Oh yes it did. Oh, did it? Oh yeah, it did. Okay. Okay. So we have that now, and there's a nice landscape right there. Now we want to put the person in there, the jogger. So what I want to do, I'm going to keep the tree layer separate, But I'm going to put these three together. I just pinch them. All three are now one. Now I'm going to put another layer. Okay, and we're going to use that layer. That's the trees. So we're going to take this layer, put it above the trees. I don't know why it says 3. It says layer 3 and layer 3. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so now we're going to do our person. Now watch this little trick. We're going to zoom in just so we can see it better. And we're going to take that separate layer and we're going to get a very, very dark blue, almost like a black. And we're going to create a person. Whoops, that's even too light. A person. This is where I think I'm going to use the turpentine brush. Here we go. There we go. Okay, the person is walking, and I don't know, they got their backpack on, and they're hiking. And they're hiking in their shorts, so we can show some legs. There we go. There's our person hiking. Wearing shorts. This sketch get in real easy. You know what? Maybe they're holding a walking stick. Yeah, let's give them a walking stick. There we go. Alright, now let's see how that looks. He's way too big. I want him to be smaller than that. So here's what I do. I grab it, and I can make it bigger or smaller. Watch this. See, I can make him bigger or smaller, but I want him smaller. I want him smaller right there. There's our hiker. Now we got him the right size, we got him in the right place. Let's get him a little bit bigger so we can put a little bit of detail on him and just paint. Just get some more paint on there. And make the brush a little smaller so we can get this walking stick looking like a walking stick. And his hand on there. Okay, he's probably wearing a cap of some sort. Maybe. He's wearing a hat. A cowboy hat or something. I don't know. He's just walking. Alright, let's put a little bit of light on him now. A little bit of reflective light. Let's get some orange. Some lighter colors here. And let's get him really big here. Get a little bit of light right there on his hat. Just a little bit of light right there. Maybe a little hint of that backpack reflecting some of that light. We can make the brush a little bit bigger, I guess. if you don't like that, you can always add some more darkness to it and kind of cover up some of that stuff. There we go. Here we go. And you know what we need to make this really look good? We need some shadows for the person there. So let's grab this color and make it darker. And that'll be the shadow coming off of the person. A little bit darker maybe. And of course the shadow would go into the bushes as well. So there we have our person walking in on the trail. And we could stop right there. Might want to add a little bit of, like, go back to those trees. So this layer is above the tree layer, so I'm going to use that layer to add a little bit of light to those trees. Just use that turpentine brush. Just add a little bit of light to those trees. A little bit of light hitting the sides of those trees. I think what I want to do, I want to put one more thing on here. I think I'm going to put one layer on top of everything, and that layer is going to be some of the bright greens, the yellow greens, and I'll do that. I'll do that with the dry brush. Use the dry brush again. Just get some of these foreground leaves that are in front of the trees. Because there are leaves in front of the trees, there's grass in front of the trees. And probably wouldn't hurt to a few more leaves here. That sunlight is hitting these foreground leaves. And let's add a little bit more darkness to some of these areas over here where these other trees are casting shadows across the path. And probably over here too. Yeah, let's get some of this now, brown, and make it a little bit darker. Yeah, so some of these shadows cross the road, of course. They reach the other side. All right, well, there is our finished picture. I say that, I'm still looking at things I see I could fix. There's some foreground leaves and stuff. Okay, so that is a real quick demonstration on how I would do a painterly, realistic looking, sort of realistic, not like a photograph, but I mean it looks like real paint is what I'm trying to say. If you look at it closely, you can see all the paint strokes, and I like the way it looks, and it's a good composition. You might want to brighten up the sun, I guess, behind him, but that's okay. That works, I think. All right, well, thank you for watching, and have fun. And if you were hoping I was doing watercolor or gouache today, don't worry, I'll be doing that some more. If you liked demonstrating Procreate, and you have questions about Procreate, or you'd like me to demonstrate something specifically for Procreate, please leave it in the comments, and I will try my best to do something like that, okay? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.